Cinderella, written by Evan Russell, illustrated by Alex Lopez. There once was a young boy named Mateo who dreamed of becoming a great baseball player. He lived with his mother and father in a small town. His father taught Mateo to play baseball. Mateo hoped to be a star pitcher one day. One day, Mateo's father died. His death left Mateo and his mother very sad and alone. Later on, Mateo's mother married a rich man. They were overjoyed. Mateo's stepfather had twin sons. Mateo was happy to have new brothers, but the twins, Primo and Guapo, were spoiled, mean, and greedy. They didn't like Mateo. Mateo asked if they wanted to play baseball. "We would never play baseball with a runt like you," Primo said. "Actually, we'll never play baseball with you at all," added Guapo. They made Mateo do all the chores. "Look at him work while we play," said Guapo. "Just like Cinderella," added Primo. "I know," Guapo cried. "Let's call him Cinderello." So the twins teased and bullied Mateo.
One day, exciting news spread through town. The coach of the National Little League team was coming. He was holding tryouts looking for the most talented players. Mateo was thrilled. Primo laughed at him. "You can't try out. You don't even have a uniform." "Father, please tell him it would be silly," said Guapo. The father agreed, and he forbade Mateo from trying out. Later, he was watching the other boys practice when he heard someone calling his name. It was the lady from the taco cart. "How do you know my name?" Mateo asked. "Because I am your fairy godmother," she answered. "What's wrong?" she asked. "I'm not allowed to play, and I don't have a uniform," he said. She waved her magic spatula. In an instant, Mateo was transformed. Mateo looked down to see if he was dressed in a fancy new uniform. "Now, no one will recognize you," said the fairy godmother. "But you must go home the minute tryouts end."
Mateo went to the tryout in his new uniform. The coach told Mateo to try pitching, and he got every boy out. "What a pitcher," the coach cried. For the tryouts later that day, the boys played a game. Mateo won the game, and everyone was happy and hopeful. With such a good pitcher, their team could win the Little League World Series. The minute the game ended, Mateo tried to leave, but boys and fans crowded around him. Mateo lost one shoe, but he got free and ran home. On the way, the rest of his uniform ran back to his ragged old clothes. The next day, the coach went through the town. He had every boy try on the shoe. Finally, the coach arrived at Mateo's house. The twins almost knocked each other over in a rush to try on the shoe. No matter how hard the boys wiggled their toes and pushed, it was still too small. Then the coach spotted Mateo. "Come here, my boy, and try on this shoe," said the coach. The coach said. The twins squawked, but when the shoe slipped on perfectly, they both gasped, "Cinderello!" Mateo looked at the twins and said, "My name is Mateo. Mateo will be our captain, and he will lead us to victory," the coach announced. Turning to the brothers, the coach added, "And you two will be our towel boys."
Talk about the similarities and differences between Cinderella and Cinderello. We're just going to start off with the American version of Cinderella. In the book, it starts off as once upon a time. The mother and father both died in this book. Cinderella was forced to be a servant. She sings songs every single day to pass the time. She had two evil stepsisters. Someone came to the house with a letter from the king for the royal ball. Cinderella wanted to go to the dance. At the dance, she lost her glass slipper. She had to be home by midnight. The fairy godmother turned Cinderella into a princess. Cinderella was put into a dress by the fairy godmother. She had to do all of the work at home. The prince came looking for the owner of the glass slipper. Fairy godmother used a wand, and the shoe fit Cinderella and the prince. The shoe fit, and Cinderella and the prince lived happily ever after.
Okay, now let's talk about Cinderello, which is the Hispanic version. Mateo is the character, and he dreamed of being a great baseball player. His father had died. His mother remarried a rich man. He had twin stepbrothers, and they were evil. They would not play with him. Mateo did all the chores while they played. The stepbrothers nicknamed Mateo Cinderello. Mateo wanted to try out for baseball, but was told no. His fairy godmother was working a taco cart. She used a spatula to grant him his wish. He received a uniform, glove, and shoes. He had to leave the minute the tryouts were over. He had pitched great and had many fans. Lost his cleat along the way. The coach searched the town for the lost owner of the cleat. The cleat fit Mateo. The stepbrothers were not on the team, and they had to be the Cowboys. The end.
This is our American version of Cinderella, and as you saw that we had Cinderella, the Hispanic version, but we also find different cultures, different versions from different cultures. The first one is The Princess and the Golden Shoe. It is the Scottish tale. Here is a little insert from the story. If you would like to read more and know about this tale, you can go to the link at the bottom. The next is The Tatercoats on the left. It is the English tale. And the one on the right is the Korean Cinderella tale. Yeshin is a Chinese Cinderella story. The Hidden One is a Native American story. As well, you can follow the link at the bottom to finish reading the rest of the story. The last two are the Egyptian tale, the Egyptian Cinderella, and the Italian tale, The Little Sparrow. These are the many different cultures and versions of Cinderella that you can check out. Now, we challenge you to look and find different cultures out there that you may like to read about. Thank you for watching.